Hey YouTube. So, those black things you're seeing there are not worms and they're not snakes. What they are pieces to the drive belt on the Woodmizer. So, here's the story. So the drive belt goes around the pulley from the motor. This pulley is from the motor. Goes around the pulley, over top of the idler, and then around this big wheel. You got to be careful when you're putting the belt on, and I'll warn you now, because the furthest grooves that are in the pulley, there's 4 grooves in this pulley. One for this brake, one for the band rubber that's underneath for the band saw, or the saw blade, and then 2 at that far end that are for the drive belt. So what happened was, if you look close, let me just try and bring you in here. If you look real close at the drive belt, you can see that this one is higher than this side. This is a 2-piece, not 2-piece, but a 1-piece 2-rib belt, okay? And for some reason this side out towards me decided that it wanted to come apart. So the other day what happened was I started the sawmill, and all of a sudden I started hearing this bumping noise that I don't normally hear. So I looked at it. First I didn't see anything, and then I noticed a piece of belt came flying out. So then I started looking for it, and I found that this side of the belt was wearing off and not this side. Now when I had taken the belt off, I took the belt off the other day because I wanted to replace it. So I took the belt off, and when you squeeze it together, it appears that it's dry rotted, which would be a little bit disturbing because, I mean, if you think about this, you put a belt on a car, and some belts can last 10 years. You would not expect this belt after a year and a half to come apart. However, I do, granted, it does take a lot of abuse, especially with this manual clutch in and out. So it is what it is. But anyway, the belt needed to be replaced. So what happened was, it was Sunday when this happened, and Napa around here is open on a Sunday. So I went down to Napa, and he didn't have a belt with two grooves in it, or two, of the, I guess it's really not 2 grooves, I forget what you would call this, but it has 2 belts together on it. So anyway, the point is that he didn't have that type of belt, but he had single belts that would fit this, and the way he did it was he measured the length of this belt, but what he didn't do was he didn't measure the width. And the problem with the belts that I got, they were called A88, which makes them 90 inches long. Why 88, not 90, I have no idea. Maybe it's the inside measurement. But regardless, the belt was A88. So I put a belt on, and when I put one single belt on, I figured I'll just run it and see what happens. The belt was so high in profile that it would not lay down into the pulley properly on the drive pulley, or the pulley that are, the grooves that are on this bigger wheel. So I put the 2 of them on anyway and ran it for 2 or 3 minutes, and the belt fell off in the back, and it's really a nuisance to put it back on everything else. Long story short, I decided not to use them. So I took the belts back. However, I ordered a belt from Woodmizer. Now for me, the purpose of buying a machine made in the USA is that I could buy parts other places than Woodmizer if I needed to. Well, apparently they have a little bit of a proprietary thing on the belt, because I can't find that belt anywhere. I will say that I'm not done looking, and there's a place called Michigan Belt Company, I think, or MI Belt or something, but anyway, they seem like they might be able to have the belt if you talk to them, or get a hold of them enough. Not sure, but I'm working on it. The thing is it's Tuesday. I ordered the belt at noontime today, and we're going to see how long it takes to get it. The price of the belt is similar to the same belts that came from Napa, so it's not a matter of price. For me, it's a matter of the sawmill broke down on Sunday basically. I wanted it to run. I needed it yesterday, but it poured all day yesterday, so it wasn't a big rush. It was supposed to pour today. Again, didn't happen, so it seems like it's not going to rain at all today. So now I want to cut, and I can't cut because of the belt. So I ordered the belt, and I'll let you know how long it takes to get the belt. Like I say, I don't like the idea that it's you know, that you have to buy the belt from Woodmizer. Not that I'm depriving Woodmizer of their due, and I think they did a good job designing this whole machine. So if this is the belt they feel that they needed and they had one designed for themselves, there's nothing I can do. It's not like they're charging you $150 for the belt and ripping you off. It's a decent price. It's basically the same price plus shipping that you would pay for any other belt. So with that said, we'll see how long it takes to get the belt. The other thing I'll tell you, when it comes to taking that apart, let me just show you up close here. On the top of the Woodmizer, there's this long cover here, okay? You need to take these two bolts out, 7/16. You need to take these two bolts out, 7/16. And this whole cover then, there's a plate here that covers a hole. I'm not sure why, but you need to take this cover off. This bolt that's here stays in there. I think it's either for anti-vibration or it's to help keep the belt from hitting the top of the cover here. But either way, this bolt can stay in. Take this off, 4 bolts. Take the spring off, because you can't get the belt past the spring or off this machine until you take the spring off. So it's not a big deal if you take the tension off this. You can actually push hard on this. It would work better if you had pliers on the bottom here, but you can work with this and get it off by hand. Okay, so then once you do that, you also have to take the saw blade off. Then once the saw blade's off, you can get the drive belt off. So it's not hard to fix. You know, it's fairly easy to get at it. A little harder than what a car would be, where you just move the idler, but nonetheless, you know, I think that it's worth the effort you put into it. So anyway, the reason I put this belt back on is because the machine was still running. It's just that it was making a noise. So I cut the small piece off on a taper where it kind of wore off or broke off, in hopes that it would stop making the noise, because if it does stop making the noise, then I'm going to still run it. So with that said, and I hope this helps anybody who might have a, you know, broken belt. Oh, the other thing I want to add is this. Because I'm not driving this or running this thing 8 hours a day every day, you know, if I have to wait, it's not the end of the world. However, if you're relying on this to earn you money, okay, what I would do is I would buy at least 3 drive belts and then another set of these belts that go on these wheels, and I would also buy 2 of these bearings for the guide bearings for the saw. I haven't had any problem with these, and when the saw blade's not in tension, I have no movement whatsoever. So I don't think there's a problem with it. I think those are good, but just in case. And maybe, you know, I'm not sure if you can get this at an auto store or not. Probably not. So I think I would probably buy another one of these, if nothing else. Of course, you could have all that stuff on hand and some other stupid thing break. But it's not like the Woodmizer's been down a lot, because it hasn't been. It's only been the blades till I figured out what was going on with the blades. I had a trouble which I fixed, and now the drive belt. But regardless, I still like the machine. I wouldn't trade it for nothing at this point, and I'm going to use it. So I'll start it now and just show you. I don't think you could really hear the noise before, but there was a pretty heavy bumping noise taking place before. I don't hear it now, so I'm gonna run it a little bit here this morning. Well guys, I'm just starting to pull logs. Whatever I have over there, I'm just taking them one at a time and working with them. This is a pine log here, very small. It's 6 inches at that far end. I figure I can get a 4x4 out of that, possibly two 2x4s. 8'3" long, so it's just right for my purposes. You can see the first cut I made there left me with a lot of bark on there, so I'm going to go down another 1/2 inch. This log had a pretty good kink in it. I'll show it to you from this side. You can see how big of a bow there is in that. Now I can go down here another 1/2 inch yet and still have 4 inches left. So I'm going to go down a half to see if I can get rid of this little bit of wane there, and then see if I could pull a 2x4 out of that, or two 2x4s. got to be really careful with this or I'm going to lose that 4-inch piece I'm looking for. You can see that we're up off the bunk there in 2 of the bunks. And if we take too much, I won't have 4 inches left. So from here, you know, it looks like we could take, I don't know, 6 3/4. But over here, 5 1/2. So if you take 5 1/2 here, you end up right about there. That doesn't give me the 4 inches I'm after. So what I may have to do is raise or lower one of these sides. Let me measure to the pith on both ends and then I'll determine what I'm going to do. Boy, that's a tough one. According to what I have there in measurements, the center of the tree is exactly even on both sides. So I'm going to go at this slightly different. What I'm going to do is, let's see, I got to get closer to this side. The only thing I can do there is raise that end a little bit so that I just clip this off here. Try raising that end about 3/4 and that ought to do it. Got 4 inches there on the face all the way down, except for right at this edge. I'm just afraid that if I take any more down, I'm going to lose it in the middle. I'm right at 4 inches there, so if I take too much, I'm not going to have nothing to pull with here. down another 1/4 inch. A 1/4 inch might get me at least to 8 foot at this end. At this end, you know how I cut my logs to 8'3". So at this end here, I'm at 8'3". If I could just get the flat board a little further, I might be able to get 2 2x4s out of it. There's not a lot I can do with this. On this side here, I'm just short 4 inches by maybe 1/2 inch or so, so I'm going to have a little wane on the 2x4. At this end down here, on the opposite side, I'm a little bit short. So, got to see what's going to happen here. Okay, so I don't have a lot of options left with this. 6-inch log, 2-inch bend in it, doesn't give you a lot of options. So we have a little bit of wane on this end, a lot more wane on that end, and we don't even have a full 4-inch board down there. I flip it over, still got wane here on this side, then it comes to this side. So instead of cutting this thing up into 2x4s, which there's no way I can turn it that's going to give me a wane-free board. If anything at all, this might give me a 2x4 on the top there. The rest of them won't. So I can cut a 2x4 off the top there and have a little wane on both sides, or I can leave it a 4x4, which is something I might be able to use it for something else. Probably, oh man, at the worst I guess I could use this as, cut it in half and use it to stack lumber on. Although I could get one good 2x4 out of it, I think, if I cut it down the middle. Or not down the middle, but go down an inch here, then go down 2 inches. I should be able to get one good clean 2x4 out of that. Yeah, but this end here says no. See that there? So let's see here. Right here. If I wanted a clean 2x4, I could take it down to the middle of this side and I'd be okay. So that means I got to roll it one more click. Go down there, whatever that bark measures at that end, and that'll give me one good 2x4 out of it. I think I'm going to do that. I want at least, what I'm trying to do is show you how you can get good wood even out of bad logs. So let me adjust that and we'll go from there. Okay guys, that was a lot of work for one 2x4. However, it's one 2x4 that's not going to get thrown in the scrap pile. I'll put it on the drying pile. You can see there's a little bit of wane there. Not enough to affect the 2x4. Nothing on this edge. And a very little bit right there again. But it'll make a good 2x4 stud. And there is a clean face on it in case I want to put it somewhere, you know, where I need a clean face. So this is a 2x4 that's been salvaged from that tiny little 6-inch log. The piece that's left over here, I cut this down to 1.5 inches because I wanted to take all of the wane that I could get off of it, and that happened. You'll see at this end here. And also I couldn't get 8 feet out of this because of the way it ended up. So this I'll scrap, the other one I'll keep. Sometimes you win, sometimes you wind, but not as much. Okay guys, so that's a flitch from a maple I cut the other day. There's one more over on the bench there I'm going to probably cut. This is cut at 5/4 or 1.25 inches right now. 1.375 almost. Yeah, 1.375. So what I can do is cut that down to 1 inch and hopefully get rid of the waste right there so that I can have a nice wide board, or at least some sort of clean board. That ends up being a 1x3, so I'll turn that on its edge and then trim that down and get that 3-inch board out of there. Because again, I can use something that narrow for all kind of little pieces on furniture. So let me turn it and I'll get back. Okay, so I turned that on its edge and trimmed it off, and we got a nice maple 1x4 out of that, which I'll put in the kiln. So I have another flitch over there that I was going to cut into firewood, but I decided to see if I can get anything out of it yet. Some really nice clear wood. It's a shame to throw it away, so we'll see what we can do with it here. If I can get one 1-inch board out of that, 8 foot long, no matter what the width is, it's worth my cutting. Here's my reasoning behind this, in case you're wondering. It may seem like a waste to take a machine that, you know, has this, or costs this much and whatever. But if I cut a 1-inch board out of there, think about it. Any little pieces that I need for furniture, I won't have to cut them from an 8-footer. I can cut them out of stuff like this that has a little imperfection in the middle. So we'll check it out and see what happens. I'd say that was worth my effort. Nice 1x6 I'll get out of that. So think of it this way. A 1x6, 8 foot long, you cut that in half to get board foot. So you have a 4 feet of maple, 4 board feet. Okay, so 4 board feet at $8 a board foot is $32. So this one board that was going to go on the scrap pile and the firewood pile, 32 bucks, which, you know, $32 is a lot better than just burning it. So I'll trim that off and put it on the put it in the kiln with this other 1x4 then. Okay, so I had a 1x6 with it, but it had a little bit of wane on it. I figured why not get rid of the wane, so I cut it down to a 1x4, but it's absolutely clear. Very nice board. Nothing on it at all. It's going to be a nice board. So, you know, a couple minutes with the Woodmizer. Look at it this way. It's already been paid for. You know, I didn't cut a lot of wood today to make a lot of money, but I'm just trying to clean up and save whatever can be salvaged. Never know how badly you may need a piece of wood. Have a good one, guys. Bye.